I have deep concerns for Nebraska. Now, what do I mean by deep concerns? Do I think that Matt Rhule isn't going to make it, that he isn't the guy to revive Nebraska? Do I think he's done a poor job? Not necessarily. I actually think that he's done a good job at Nebraska, and I'm still optimistic about his future with the Cornhuskers, but that doesn't mean that I don't have concerns or that I don't have reservations. What happened on Saturday is bigger than just a game. It is more than just a loss. What happened Saturday was the curtains were peeled back, the veil was torn, and right before our eyes, we got to see that Nebraska is a ways away from where they want to be. And also, our foundation as college football fans, my own from an analyst perspective, and I think especially as Nebraska fans, our foundation got shook in the sense that we believed that Matt Rhule was progressing linearly year over year over year. And I think there's still a case to be made that he has. But when you look at some deeper metrics, I have some SRS ratings to show you all on the left-hand side of the screen. There is a case analytically that outside of blowing out Akron and Houston Christian, that Nebraska really didn't improve all that much from last year. Last year, they were 31st in SRS. This year, they are 62nd. When you look at ESPN's efficiency metrics, now, they're not totally comparable because each season has its own average, has its own weight, but I think efficiency metrics do tell us a lot and are more accurate comparing them season over season than FPI ratings. Nebraska in efficiency is 56th this year with a 57.9 rating. Last year, they were 39th with a 66.8 rating. There's a lot of evidence to suggest, on the contrary, that this year, Nebraska's actually just kind of leveled from where they were last year. A huge part of that, of course, is Dylan Raiola and the quarterback injury. But what I will also say to that is you do not want to have one player have that much impact on your team. And Raiola was not the reason why Nebraska surrendered 37 to Penn State or 38 of the 40 points to the Iowa Hawkeyes. He's not the reason why. The offensive line was horrid. It was worse than it was last year. It was the worst of the Matt Rhule era. Donovan Raiola, this is his fourth year with the Cornhuskers, and I'm not going to lie when I say that it's been disappointing. This channel will make you a college football expert and help you enjoy watching games and make more accurate predictions. So what are you waiting for? Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment your thoughts, and watch the video all the way through so that you can get the full package. And check the description and pinned comment for more ways to help yourself and this channel. It's been quite disgusting, allowing negative 202 sack yards and 30 sacks is unacceptable, especially when you have the schedule Nebraska does, which is a schedule that, because Penn State was down, was even easier than last year's schedule. And they got pushed around in almost all of their games on the lines of scrimmage. The 7 games they won were because of their outside skill position talent and their corners and secondary. It was in spite of their trench play. The team lacked physicality. They were small. They are small. And they were not tough. In the Penn State game, Penn State was able to run down their throat. Iowa was able to run down their throat. Iowa was able to pass an average for around 10 yards per attempt on them and totally control that game. They were lucky that they didn't play Indiana again this year. Indiana would have beaten them by 50 or 60 points. They would have committed the same war crimes against Nebraska that they did against Illinois. They were fortunate to play this version of Michigan and not past versions of Michigan. They were fortunate to get Michigan and USC on the schedule at home instead of play either on the road or have to face Indiana, Ohio State, or Oregon at home or in any environment, any setting. And that is bad. And even though Matt Rhule has won 5 games first year, 6 games plus 1 in the bowl game equals 7 in year 2, he's won 7 this year with an opportunity to win 8. Nebraska wants to get back to consistently contending for the playoffs. And only having good skill position players, well, that was the one bright spot of this year. Emmett Johnson having 15 rushing touchdowns, Emmett Johnson having close to 1,500 rushing yards. He had, by the way, like 1,700, 1,800. It's actually 12 rushing touchdowns. My apologies. But he had 3 receiving touchdowns. So 15 total touchdowns. He had close to 1,500 rushing yards. And he had 1,821 total yards with only 1 fumble. Hopefully, for Nebraska's sake, he can come back. And Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter were good. Dylan Raiola made great strides. But there's still a ton of work to be done. And I think that a great way to close this out and summarize my thoughts on Matt Rhule and Nebraska are that I think they are on track to being back by their Big Ten standards. But if we're talking about whether or not they're on track to win titles or compete for them, like Big Ten titles, national titles, I don't see it at this point. I think that Matt Rhule is going to do a great job bringing them back to being competent, and then a few years here or there, they'll have an opportunity to cycle up and reach the playoffs. But with how things are currently constructed, and with how they're really banking on the portal and this upcoming recruiting class to really break through, I think that's risky, and I have not seen eliteness in development, in coaching, in recruiting, in game decisions, in scouting. I've seen a lot of good. I've seen a lot of average. I've seen some bad in other areas. All of it averages to Nebraska's median is probably an above average to good football program. I do not think Rhule is a guy to bring them to an elite level. But I also never really had those expectations either. If you're a Nebraska fan who thinks that they can win it all, or that they should pursue that, I think there's a little bit more that you need to see, and that's putting it kindly, before we go all in here. But on the overall program outlook, I'm still optimistic that they're heading in the right direction. Thank you for watching. It's my mission on College Football with Sam to make you the most informed, knowledgeable, and entertained fan as possible. We aren't perfect, but we hit the nail on the head more often than we hit our thumb with the hammer. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment, and if you're here, you've probably already watched the whole video. So thank you for doing those things.